Hey guys, welcome to Denny's. Today, we're going to be going into episode 5 of the Weekly Loot Cave series, the series where I go over the most efficient farms for some of the most notable drops every week in the first Descendant, so be sure to stay tuned. And before we get into it this week, guys, we are upping the ante just a fair bit this week, so bear with me. We've got 11 different farms in this video, so please like the video if it helped, comment anything you've got for me in the comment section below. I also wanted to shamelessly plug the subscriber metrics here real quick. If you guys like the series, if you like the content, you think I've earned the subscribe, then please do so. If I have not quite earned it yet, please stay posted on the channel and let me know what I can do better to earn the sub next time down in the comments, please, guys. I also wanted to remind everyone we are live on Twitch 6 days a week, so come stop by, say hello. I love talking and hanging out with each and every one of you guys. It's been really fun. And lastly, I wanted to announce that I launched a Patreon yesterday, and there is a completely free member option, so be sure to check it out. All the links will be in the description below. Without wasting any more time, though, let's jump into the weekly loot cave. And remember to utilize timestamps and video chapters as needed. So first things first, we're going to start off with our components available this week. So let's take a look. We've got the memory and we've got the processor dropping. There is going to be a graphic on screen showing you the god rolls, or what I will be aiming for every time I farm the two components. So for example, for memory, we've got defense and MP recovery mod for the main role, but if I'm going to be doing a farming role, it will be the gold drop rate and firearm proficiency role. And then as far as the processor, we've got the max shield and shield recovery for just running and making sure that I'm good for content. And then as far as farming, which is the one that I use most of the time, it's going to be the equipment drop rate and item acquisition distance. This is actually quite nice to have, so a really, really good farm this week. All right, guys, and let's jump right into the efficient farms this week. We're not trying to waste as little time as possible. We're going to go into the memory farm first. It is going to be available from the repository in the sterile lands. And the farm of choice this week, guys, is going to be the outpost mission via the Valby method, or the Valby farm. Now, as far as tips for this mission, you don't really have to worry about, lowering your damage or lowering your range for this one, because you just go in, shoot all the pylons, and as you can see on screen, a absolute ton of loot is dropping this week from this mission. You just kind of go in circles, and the boss will never die, so you have a full 3 minutes to get as much loot as possible, because he is one of the sphere bosses in the mission, where basically you don't have to worry about killing him once you proc his spheres, because your Valby V ability will not, or cleanup ability will not actually do damage to those spheres. So a very, very, very good farm this week for memory. And yet another, we're going to segue that into yet another good farm for the processor, available from the Rockfall in sterile lands this week. Obviously, we've got one of our favorite missions, the anticipated ambush point. Now, this is a S tier mission, guys. You're going to be getting code breakers, you're going to be getting Kuiper, you're going to be getting a ton of gold. But this is dropping our processor this week, so if you are looking for that double gold rolled item acquisition distance and equipment drop rate modifier, or whatever you're looking for, this is definitely the week to do it. As you can see, the mission takes 30 seconds. You just go in, go out, keep going, do it over and over again. Not much time I need to put into this one, because a lot of people already know about this. So we are going to jump right in to the reactors. So first reactor that I have on the list, or first Descendant we're going to be talking about, is Viessa. So we've got her mobbing impact reactor, available from the White Knight Gulch Observatory. This is the Order's Veil mission, and this is going to be a solid mission. Obviously, it's a barrier deactivation mission, so a decent number of elites. You are going to be getting blue brains. Probably don't need them from how much you farmed Lepic's reactor last week. Maybe you do, but nonetheless, a really good mission for it. Now, as far as the rolls, I'm going for fusion damage, crit chance or damage, and skill cost with this. The reason that it is so good is because the Blue Beetle is an impact weapon. The Blue Beetle, each time you use a fusion skill, gives you a stacking crit buff that lasts actually quite a while. So definitely recommend going for Blue Beetle mounted and those rolls. And then we are going to jump to the General Rounds Reactor this week for mobbing for Viessa. If you did want a General Rounds Reactor, if you wanted to move a bit quicker instead of holding the Blue Beetle, the shipment base in White Knight Gulch, obviously another S tier farm, the Fortress Outskirts mission. This is a George W farm, is what I like to call it, as well as the anticipated ambush. But moral of the story is, really good farm, same kind of rolls, just if you want a General Rounds Reactor instead of the Impact Reactor for Viessa. So again, with the, obviously, chill damage, you could do fusion damage, crit chance, crit damage, skill cost, all really good options on Viessa for mobbing if you wanted the General Rounds Reactor. And then we are going to move on to the next reactor, which is going to be for 2 Descendants specifically. There's going to be 2 different farms here. So the first one is going, or the Descendants are going to be Enzo and Yujin. And the first one is going to be a general rounds, not a tribute reactor. This is available from the restricted zone in the sterile lands. This is the barracks mission, extermination mission. And basically, there's not a whole lot of really good missions here, guys. This is really the only one that spawns a lot of mobs. As far as roles, what you're trying to go for, most likely like an enduring legacy mounted with duration or non-attribute and singular damage, or whatever you want to go for there. It's a good reactor, just a really rough week as far as the farm, but nonetheless, you can target them here. Let's talk about an insane S tier, another George W farm here, guys. This is going to be the Enzo Yujin singular impact reactor, available from the Valby farm in the fortress, obviously the defense line zone. This one needs no introduction. It's been very popular. It was nerfed, but it's still extremely good for farming loot. Very good gold as well. Not like it's a very bad amount of gold. I mean, 300,000 gold for every 3 minutes is really not bad. But yeah, needs no introduction. I go for skill, duration, non-tribute, singular damage. Again, solid all-rounder for these guys. As far as the impact weapon, I mean, you can choose Perforator, and Azistra's Devotion is probably a little bit better. Obviously, completely your call there. But those are the 2 that I would probably be looking for the most. And then let's move on to the Freyna Tech Reactor, available from Moonlight Lake this week in Vespers. And we are going to be doing the Floodplain Extermination mission. Definitely the most efficient mission here. And guys, honestly, this mission is very slept on. This mission is actually quite efficient. The mobs spawn very quickly after you kill them, if you're using Bunny, obviously. And then you can kind of just jump around. It's in a really small zone. And I had a ton of these drops. So if you're trying to get a Freyna Reactor, this is definitely a really good week to do it. All I would recommend for the role is probably just tech and toxic damage, solid all-rounder. Or if you want to target like the range, extra range with the new, obviously, Freyna range on her V and her Q, or maybe skill duration, those would be nice as well. And then as far as the weapon, I would probably go for an Enduring Legacy mounted, because it does affect the amount of bullets that are in her ultimate ability with her machine gun, her toxic machine gun. But you can go for whatever you want here, whatever you prefer. Obviously, Fallen Hope is a really, really good one. Mixed with an Enduring Legacy or Python would even be a decent one to go for as well. But yeah, that's Freyna this week. Let's move on to my personal favorite this week. This is going to be Lepic's farming build reactor, available from the Misty Woods in the Echo Swamp this week. So the Hazy Swamp mission, the extermination mission, is what we are going to be going for here. Definitely the most efficient. There's not a whole lot of choice here, but this one's actually pretty solid. Again, with the extermination, just kind of like the Freyna Tech Reactor, they are spawning as soon as you kill them. If you get the route down, you can run this in under a minute. It's a really, really quick way to get the Lepic farming build reactor. What I'm going for is Secret Garden mounting. It is a must-have. You cannot get anything else. Secret Garden is going to make this build that much more enjoyable. And then you are going for I'm going to be going for min-maxing the faction damage type as well as the crit damage, or maybe some range. Those are going to be the 3 that I go for. Definitely the faction is the rank 1 best in slot, in my opinion. Getting 3 of each reactor. Now, that's very min-maxy, but that's what I plan on doing, mixing it with either range or crit damage. So that is the Lepic farm this week. And then we'll move on to another fire reactor this week. This is going to actually be Blair's general rounds reactor, available from the Fallen Theater in Kingston this week. So this is going to be the Vulgus Occupied Buildings extermination mission here. As far as the mission, not a lot of choice. Again, with these kind of smaller missions, there's the outpost there, but it's not really the best. This mission's honestly really good, as you can see on screen. We go in, we clear the mission in like 45 seconds, and we just do these circle inside the house. We run around, and I get a ton, as you guys can see, I get a ton of gold reactors dropping. And as far as the role for Blair, I am definitely going to go for critical hit chance and damage, because he scales crazy with crit, kind of like Sharon. You could also go for faction damage with Colossus damage. Those are all extremely good rolls, as long as you get some crit mixed in there with the faction or Colossus choice. And then as far as weapons, I would say probably Enduring Legacy, for once you pop all your fire damage on the ground, your damage over time, you can shoot your Enduring Legacy to increase the damage over time that your fire is doing. And I think Blair is going to go pretty insane with that. So definitely a good week to get Blairs, in my opinion. And I probably will be farming this quite a bit, just because I want to start working on my Blair next. But let's jump into the next farm. This is the penultimate farm of the week, guys. This is going to be probably the most S tier farm of the week. This is going to be Jayber, Valby, and Gley once again. this week is pretty insane. I do have to go over some gimmicks with this farm and make sure that you pay attention because it actually is quite important. So first off, it is a non-attribute dimension reactor available from Mirage Stone in the Agna Desert. Now, last week, I was talking about how the extermination mission or the barrier deactivation mission are pretty good. I was completely wrong. The outpost can be farmed Valby style here. You just have to do it a specific way. So as you can see in the background gameplay, guys, you have to turn your range down all the way to what it is at a base level. And you also have to turn your damage down just enough. I'm literally just using 2 damage mods, and that is it. It's ticking for about 50k. That way, I'm not getting any crazy crits. It's not one-shotting the boss because he is not a sphere boss, and there is a high chance you will probably kill him a couple times when doing this farm if you do it over a long period of time. I got about 3 or 4 runs in before on the 5th run he finally walked into my dot and died over a long period of time. But the best way I can say to go for this, guys, is just make sure that you are lowering your range and lowering your damage on Valby. As you can see in the background, it is honestly pretty insane farm this week. As far as the roles, now obviously Jayber, Valby, Gley. As far as Jayber and Valby, I'm going to be going for skill, duration, and range. Maybe some crit damage chance depending on how high I get those. Haven't really worked on Jayber yet. As far as Gley, guys, I have not got Gley yet. I don't want to give any false information. I think people are going for skill duration on Gley. That's all I know. Make sure that they get the massacre uptime quite higher. Something like that, guys. I have no idea with Gley. So make sure you do your research as far as the Gley rolls. I'm sure crit damage, crit chance, faction damage would all be really good choices as well. So keep a lookout for those. But let's go into the last farm of the week. This is going to be Bunny's General Round Reactor, available from the Ruins in Vespers this week. Now, this mission is going to be the Ruins Courtyard mission. This is going to be a decent mission, not the best. There's not a lot of choice again here from this one. It is an extermination mission, so you're getting kills as fast as you can and spawning them. As far as the weapon, guys, on my Bunny, I like to go for Thunder Cage. You could go for some of the pistols. You run a little bit quicker with the Final Masterpiece or the Last Dagger, but I like to go for Thunder Cage. Always have that out if I can get it. I do have a Python one right now, so I'll probably be trying to get a Thunder Cage one. But as far as the rolls, Bunny is another one I'm going to be min-maxing. So faction type damage mixed with probably like skill cost reduction. That is probably going to be my go-to for all 3. Maybe some range if I haven't maxed it out, but range doesn't really scale that well on the reactors. And I do have quite a bit of range already with Bunny. She is my obviously infiltration runner and farmer. So the range is nice, as well as the faction damage, making sure that you do enough damage and do that little bit of extra damage that everything scales off. And guys, that is the weekly loot cave video this week. I seriously hope that you enjoyed the video. I tried a little bit harder this week to give it a little bit of a quicker rundown. I know the video might end up being a bit longer, but I hope you guys enjoy the grind this week. A lot of S tier farms. Definitely take a look at the Twitch in the description and the Patreon that I did launch. Guys, if you stayed this far, you are legends. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, man. I'm out of here. Peace out. Good boy.